Hello, and in the second video we're going to deal with this part of the sheet where we look at the writer's views and attitudes. And what that means is we're trying to get inside the writer's head, it's my little stick man writer, to see what he's thinking, which makes him say what he says. So the attitude is the bit inside their head, and their text is what they've created. So we want to have a look at their attitudes. And this is a bit tricky, but we're going to give it a go. So in the worked example, I've given you a small quotation from the text, which has something about his views. And we're going to see what we can infer from it. So here he says, so when you get to adulthood, that money really starts to matter, though, and particularly when you are parents to, I think, a dysfunctional extent. So from this quote, what can we infer? Infer, remember, is another word for suggest. So what do we think is implied or suggested by this text? Well, it implies that adults need money to be happy more than children. Because he says it's when you get to adulthood that money starts to matter. So he identifies that that's more true than it is at children. Children are able to use their innocence to find happiness, while adults are not. So earlier he talked about how children have innocence, imagination, and wonder to get them through. So we could perhaps work out that that's why he thinks children don't need it as much. And maybe we could also say that parents are too worried about having enough money. And if we had to link that to a particular part of the text, I'd say where he says to a dysfunctional extent. And we actually talked about the word dysfunctional and how it meant that was in live communities, how it means something that doesn't work the way it should. So how about this quote underneath? The hope for wealth brings worry, and worry makes the children who witness it unhappy. Greed can ruin a family. What can we infer from that? So the hope for wealth brings worry. That's one part. Well, that suggests that actually you're only worried about money if you hope for more than you have. So that links to that idea of being content solves this. And what about this second part? Worry makes children who witness it unhappy. So witness means to see something. So he's saying the children who watch people who are worried, maybe mums and dads arguing, for example, they are unhappy. Greed can ruin a family. So if I was to put that into a sentence, I probably want to begin with something like the writer thinks. So the writer thinks better to be content with what you have than worry about what you don't have. Secondly, perhaps children who see their parents worrying about wealth feel unhappy. And finally, wealth does not matter as much to children as love and stability. They would rather see the parent contented. So all we're trying to do there is unpick what he's saying and make sense of it and apply it. And that's what it means to infer the writer's views and attitudes. Just a little bonus bit. Something to think about as you move into tomorrow's task is, what are your thoughts on money and happiness? What do you think a young person or a family needs to be happy in terms of money? A little, just enough, or a lot? Now I think, because you're going to need your own opinions for the next task. Well done.